salli wa sallim wa barik ala hazim nabil karim sayyidi sanadil azim zul qalbi rahim sayyidina muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman subhan rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin amin.
Amen. Shukran, Imam Yalo. Bishop, if you can offer some prayers, you have the floor, please, as well.
Thank you, Chairman. Lord God Almighty, whose mercies are beyond human comprehension, we continue to knock at your throne of grace, your heart of love and compassion on all humankind throughout the whole face of the globe. We pray that you will grant all of us the humility to be humble, to be merciful, to be compassionate, to be loving and caring for one another. We pray that you will remove greed and avarice from our hearts. Grant us to know that this world is not the end of everything else, but the time will come when each and every one of us will have to stand before you to give an account of our daily lives. So help us to live our lives in modesty and try to regulate our relationship with one another. We commit the witness that will be before the TRRC this day. Grant him the boldness to come here and speak the truth. And also grant the commission the discerning spirit to discern between truth and falsehood. Grant the population, the people of this nation, the Gambia, and those of the diaspora, also the patience, to allow the due process to take its proper course. And we know at the end of it all, you will grant this nation peace, stability. In Jesus' name we pray, praise and thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much indeed, Bishop. Council, if we are ready with this morning's witness, please proceed to hear him in.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, commissioners and members of the audience. May I ask that the witness be brought in, please?
Thank you.
I, Demba Sowe, do swear that I'll speak the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Good morning, Mr. Sowe. Welcome to the TRRC.
Good morning, Great Council.
Mr. Sowe, as a matter of practice before this commission, we do allow for interpretation in the local languages, even though the witness may be speaking in English. That is done so that those listening at home may be able to follow the proceedings. In which local language would you wish that the proceedings be interpreted into?
In full.
Thank you very much. We would make arrangements, Mr. Chair. Kindly allow for a few minutes. so that arrangements will be made for translation, interpretation rather, into the Fula language. Well, Mr. Witness, I would encourage you to pay attention to the interpretation. In the event that there are mistakes in the interpretation, you may help to correct them. I wish my Fula was good enough. Unfortunately, it's not. Mr. Witness, you've just taken an oath to speak the truth. You know the drill. It's a criminal offense. It's an offense to lie on the oath. It's also an offense to provide false information to the TRRC. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Council owi joni wayri ari ɗo hande pro CBA mangal ɗum dey ko yakkugol luwa sa ari ɗo e nder o leydi a haali a huɗi alqur'ana a haali ko wona gonga ɗum ko yakkugol luwa.
Could you answer now? You should
Yes,
answer.
yes, I know you. You cancel. Cancel me down.
Yes, so always answer after the interpretation.
Okay, thank you.
And allow for at least a brief 3 seconds between your speech and that of the interpreter so that there won't be any overlap. What are your full names?
Ko hoɗum woni inde ma e yettode ma?
My name is Demba Sowe.
Demba Sowe.
What's your date and place of birth?
Koto jibineɗa e ñande hombo jibineɗa?
6 June 67 in Kampasa village.
June 1967, Sara Wetende, Kampasa.
Jeego.
But where is Kampasa?
Kampasa ko hoto woni?
In Fonyi Jarong, West Coast region.
Fonyi Jarol, from the West Coast region.
Where did you go to school?
Hoto yaɗa ko jangde maɗe école hombo yaɗa?
St. John Pasco School.
St. John?
In Sintet.
Pasco School, Sara Wetende, Sintet.
And thereafter?
Gila iwɗa ɗon hoto jaaɗa?
Brikama Secondary School for 1 year, then St. Peter's Technical High School.
Miye Brigama Secondary School, Hitande Water, miye St. Peter's.
You have pursued other academic courses.
A waɗino jangde goɗɗe ɗe mo annduɗa nandani e ɗin ɗon.
So could you tell us about them?
Joni haalan men ɗin ɗon kala no wayi hoto yaaɗa ko hoɗum sifa gandal jannguɗa ɗon?
Diploma in Management Studies at the MDI.
Ebi diploma ɗum woni no toppitoto ligge no yarata ɗum woni jande wiyetende Management Development Institute MDI.
In 2008.
Jande wiyetende 2008.
2013 to 2017, I did my LLB and BL respectively.
2013 ha 2013 2017 maybe BA.
BL.
BL.
LLB and BL.
LLB kanyum e BL.
Are you called to the bar?
Yes, I'm comfortable.
Ay no dama ka darde wiyetende ñawore ne.
You are a lawyer.
No wayno an ka a lawyer?
Yes, lead counsel.
Ay counsel komi lawyer jo min kadi.
You entered the police force, Gambia Police Force, in which year?
Yande istande hombo fuɗɗuɗa wonde police?
September 1985.
It was September 1985.
That would be 36 years ago, isn't it?
Ɗum wona duuɓi capantati e jeego ɓaawo?
Yes, lead counsel.
Ay counsel.
You would admit that that is a very, very long time.
Jaɓaɗe ɗon ɓooyi hande joni?
Yes, lead counsel.
Ay ɓooyi kay.
And that gives you extensive experience in policing.
No wayno dal ɗum hokkima gandal mo annduɗa no yaaƴi no mawni kala e sengol ligge police?
Yes, lead counsel.
Ay counsel.
Where have you worked as a police officer? Give us just a brief rundown of the places you have worked as a police officer and the positions.
Joni haalan men dulaji mo annduɗa ko ɗon ligguɗa e ligge police?
After passing out in
86, I was at the Banjul station as a general duty officer.
Yami gayni jangugol angole golle police en 1986 ko Banjul wonno gollude te general duties ko dum
And
wonde.
the same year in 86, I was moved to Denton Bridge as a traffic officer.
Be hitande wotere ndem 1986 be nabilan traffic office ligue traffic ka Denton Bridge.
And in 1992,
Tande 1992
I was moved to the police headquarters
nabilan galle njane police aɓɓe
to form part of a newly created unit called the Complaints and Discipline Unit.
pour mi tawe golle darnade kese wiyetede complaint and discipline unit.
And after the coup in 1994,
Le coup d'état on waɗi hitande 1994
we continued in that same unit.
min continue golle amen ɗen e ɗen ligge goto ɗen.
And in 1995,
Hitande 1995
I moved to the CID, Serious Crime.
mi naɓɓa sengo CID serious crime.
1996,
Hitande 1996
I was redeployed to the fraud squad.
ɓe nabilam fraud squad ɓe andandama ko ɓen toppitoto affaire tappela yagal ngal
And I was at the fraud squad
e on
until
office
1999,
ha hitande 1999
when a new unit was also formed at the police headquarters called the Incident Planning Unit.
giɗannama ɓe darni toon pala ligge kose office kesso kadi wiyeteɗo incident plan unit.
I was moved there to head that unit barely for 1 year.
ɓe naɓilan toon mi wona yeesojo on toon mi heeɓi toon hitande.
And in 2000, I was again moved to the fraud squad.
Hitande 2000 ɓe naɓirilan ɓe ruttinlan fraud squad kadi.
And in 2007, I was promoted to an assistant superintendent of police
2007 ɓe ɓeydi makama on woni assistant superintendent police
and posted to LRR as the officer commanding.
ɓe naɓilan tundu LRR tundu mansa konko to ɓe woni officer commanding manan ko min police aɓe wonɓe toon ɓen ko min woni yeesoɓe maɓɓe.
And in 2003, I was transferred back to head the mobile traffic unit at Kanifing.
2003 ɓe addilan mobile traffic pour mo wona yeesojo traffic on ton.
And later to Banjul traffic.
yeeso seeɗa ɓe naɓilan Banjul traffic.
And in 2004 May
2004 hitande 2004 lewru mai
May 15th,
sappo e joyi mayru
I was deployed to Sierra Leone on the UNAMC peacekeeping.
ɓe naɓilan leydi Sierra Leone ɗum woni danɗe tabintingol toon jam.
I was there till February 2006 when I returned.
miɗo toon ha lewru février 2006 mi arti.
And in February, I was deployed back to fraud squad as the officer commanding.
février kadi ɓe naɓirlan fraud squad pour mona toon yeesojo on.
And in July of 2006,
lewru July 2006
I was promoted to a superintendent of police
ɓe ɓeydi makama on ɓe waɗilam superintendent police
and appointed as the head of the crime, called the crime management coordinator.
suɓilam ɓe waɗilan yeesojo toppitotoɗo ɗum woni baɗe bonɗe waɗoɗe ɗen.
And in 2006 December,
ha joni hitande 2006 hitande lewru décembre
I had a 1 week termination of service.
ɓe taƴi golle an ɗen goyata yontere.
That was on the 7th of December. I was given a letter of termination of service.
no heeɓi lewru décembre balɗe mum jeeɗiɗi ɓe jonilan letar wondema ɓe taƴi golle an ɗen.
Though I didn't know what the reasons were.
gonga mi andano ko honɗum sababi ko honɗum mi waɗi.
1 week later on the 14th,
lewru yontere wotere e nden yontere koɓe taƴi golle an ɗen nde yontere hikkinde mum nden
I was reinstated
nden ndu lewru wotu ndu balɗe sappo e nayyi maru ɓe ruttinila e golle ɗen kadi
and redeployed to the NIA.
ɓe naɓilan ligge wiyeteɗe NIA.
And at the NIA too,
ton NIA ton kadi
I was part of the investigation team.
miɗo tawano miɗo tawano e kafu yimɓe ɓe andanda wonde ko kamɓe liccindinta ɓe andanda ɓe adda toon heɓe tuuma goɗɗum.
And in January, I think January 22nd,
seki lewru January noga e ɗiɗi mayru
I was promoted to a director
ɓe ɓeydi makama on ɓe waɗilan director
and appointed as the Director of Internal Security.
ɓe suɓilan ɓe waɗilan director mo andanta wonde ko kanko toppitoto e gardugal ko wonta kon ka nder toon tigi ɗum woni internal security.
In 2008 July,
lewru 2008 hitande 2008 lewru July,
I was suspended from the NIA for a certain allegation that was a subject of investigation.
ɓe haɗilan yahugol NIA te ko sababi ɗum ko ɗum no haari ko woodi ko ɓe wonno liccindinde fi an ɓe taƴi ɓe haɗilan yahugol toon.
Subsequently, on the 19th of September 2008,
o gila ɗum yawti lewru December 19 sappo e jeenayi may
September 19th,
September sappo e jeenayi may 2008,
I was charged to court and dismissed on the 22nd of September.
e tuumilan ɓe naɓilan court ɓe rewdilan September.
So from September to May 2010,
bilandema lewru September ha lewru May 2010
I was out of the system.
mi yalti e golle ɗen.
Of course, from 19th of September to May 10th, 2010,
lewru May sappo e jeenayi mayru kanuma e 2010
I was at the Mile 2 prisons.
yo kaso mawɗo.
And in April 24th,
lewru April noga e nayi mayru
2013,
2013 hitande nden
I was reinstated
ɓe ruttinilan e golle ɗen
to the NIA.
ɗum woni NIA.
And of course, the reinstatement states I should go back to where I was in 2018.
kaydi ndin ko holliri ɗon kon ɓe ruttinilan golle kono mi ruttoto kam mi wonno toon.
But that was not the case. I was posted at a certain unit called the Analysis as Director.
kono wona noon kam wonno toon wona to mi rutti ko sengo ko kadi mi ruttiti ka wiyete analyse ko ɓe andana wonde ko kamɓe seɗeta ko kala ko wandana hino jiiɓodir noon ko kamɓe seɗata ɗum ha laaɓa.
And in that same year, around September, I was
nden hitare wotere nden kadi
transferred to head the External Security Wing as Director.
e nattilam ɗum woni sengo fedde joguingue ngam ɓe andana ko kamɓe jogui gardu ndun e yaasi on
And in
wona yeesojo on toon kadi.
September 2014,
lewru September 2014 kadi
I was deployed back to the police where I came from.
e nattilan e sengo police ngon kam mi iwroni iwri ɗon.
And I was posted at the Policy and Planning Unit of the Gambia Police Force as a commissioner.
e naɓilan ka sengo yanana ka police and planning unit mi wona yeesojo on toon.
And in 2015,
hande 2015
I was posted as the Commissioner of Administration at the police headquarters.
e naɓilan police headquarters mi wona yeesojo mo andanda wonde kanko toppitoto e golle ɗen no yarata noon administration.
March or April 2016, I was moved again
lewru March 2015 ɓe ittilan kadi
as Commissioner of the Interpol and the Criminal Intelligence.
ɓe naɓilan mi wona yeesojo ɗum woni commissioner Interpol ko andanda wonde police ɓe andanda aɗuna on fof police kafumo ɓe hawti on o wona yeesojo on toon.
March of 2017,
lewru March 2017 March o walla May
July, yes, I was
July.
again
ha joni
posted to be the Crime Management Coordinator as Commissioner.
pour mi wona commissioner ɗum woni waɗuɓe baɗe bonɗe ɗen ɗo ɗe toppitorte.
And in
2018 hitande 2018
around July,
de July
I was again moved to the admin as the Commissioner of Admin.
ha joni kadi mi ruttina admin ɗum woni police sengo police toppitoɗo ɗo ligge ɗen fof no yarata noon.
And in 2019,
hitande 2019
after my elevation to an Assistant Inspector General of Police,
ila ɓe ɓeydi makama an on pour mi wona assistant inspector general of police.
there was an internal restructuring.
te ɗum woni nder police ton on ɓe waɗi ɓe sansuno hen gueɗe place uji ɗuɗuɗi.
And I was moved to as the AIG crime, the CMC.
ɓe naɓilan wona AIG ɗo ɗum woni CMC crime management coordinator.
And that's where I am as we speak.
ni ka wonɗo ko toon mi woni.
In a sense, you have worked in most of the relevant offices at the Gambia Police Force.
no wayno dal a liggi ɗo office aji kewɗi wanduɗa ɓenin tawa ley police Gambia ɗo.
Yes, Council.
Hey, Council.
You have also worked at the NIA.
a liggino kala ɗo NIA.
Yes, Council.
Hey, Council.
Do you recall in 2006?
mi anda sa siftorat hitande 2006 March lewru March 2006
when you were appointed to work in one of the panels investigating the alleged Ndur Cham coup d'etat.
on tuma noon ɓe suɓinoma ɓe nattinima e nder kafu mo annduɗa ko ɗum wiyete panel pour on dartina e coup d'etat yakkunoɗo mo annduɗa Ndur Cham heɗuno on coup d'etat.
Yes, Council.
Hey, Council.
Can you tell us how the panel was formed?
joni
As far as you know?
an no andirɗa ɗum wawa men haalande panel on yimɓe wonɓe nder panel on hono ɓe suɓira.
Council, on this fateful day,
Council nde nyalande.
this was 3 weeks after my resumption of duties at the police
No
headquarters.
heɓi jonte tati ginandama mi ruttinta e golle ɗen.
I was at home
miɗo galle
around 8 p.m.
e wattuji jeetati ñalorma.
Somebody called me,
Wodi nodduɗo lan.
if I can remember, I think it was Boto Keta.
Miɗo wawi mandidade mi sikki ko wiyeteɗo boto keeta ko on noddi lan.
These were officers who were part of the major crime.
E ko yimɓe ɓe andanda wanda hiɓe tawa e sengo police ton liggoto e sengo ligge police wiyete major crime.
Inform me, just to inform me, kind of,
family lan tan.
that whether I was aware of any attempted coup.
Mi o landila wondema ndah miɗo tini wondema e wodi falanoɓe hippade leydi ndi.
And I said no,
Momi ala.
and he informed me that yes, there was an attempted coup and it has been foiled.
Family lan no elan hari wodi falanoɗo hippade laamu ngu kono ɓe boni.
And that police officers were converged at the PIU headquarters at Kanifing, including the IGP.
Yoni non ni police ɓen hiɓe noddaɓe fo PIU ko galle maɓɓe jane e kañum e yeesojo police ɓe fo hiɓe ton.
That was just for my information.
Ɗum woni o family lan.
Well, whilst at home, I felt, I also need to be part of the team at the PIU.
Mi wonno galle gila o family lan mi yi e hooram min kadi aw miɗo fotno tawede o la kaɓe police aɓe won ton woni PIU ka paraji galle
At this stage, what was your rank?
on tuma noon ko hoɗo makama marnoɗa e nder police.
Assistant Superintendent of Police.
makama mom jogui noon ko ɗum wiyete assistant superintendent of police.
Would you consider that to have been a senior rank at the time?
noon a wawa wiide ko place mo annduɗa ko place mawɓe e nder police.
It forms part of the cadre of the senior.
Eyi mo tawa e yeesoɓe ɓe police aɓe.
Proceed, please.
o wi joni continue.
I drove to the PIU headquarters.
mi dogini mo rango mi yehi ka police paraɓe to.
And I found IGP and some other senior officers with personnel of the major crime unit.
Tawi ton yeesojo police amen kañum may police aɓe mawɓe yeesojo ɓe goo ɓe ton.
Who was the IGP at the time?
on tuma ko hombo wonno IGP.
Usman Sonko wonno IGP on woni yeesojo police aɓe on jamanu.
Then he told me that Sow,
wilan wondema Sow.
oh, you are here. He said yes.
O hiɗa ɗo.
I said yes.
Momi eyi miɗo ɗo.
Okay. And he told me, well, there is an attempted coup.
Wilan wondema awa joni nan woodi falanoɓe hippade laamu ngu.
And the soldiers are going round to effect arrest.
Joni ni ka wonɗo militaire ɓe hiɓe yahude taragol nangugol yimɓe.
So I will want you to lead the team for the NIA to form part of panel of investigation.
Joni min komi faala an kadi taweɗa yimɓe ɓe andandama wondema ɓe yaha e NIA pour ɓe wawa tawede yimɓe ɓe andana ɓe liggintina fi affaire ɓe yimɓe ɓe andanda wonda ɓe falanoɓe hippade laamu ngu.
I had no option but to accept it.
On kam wonɗon ko haalannolan ɗon kon feere ala nalo nan ko ɓe mi nanga ko mi jaɓa ko wi kon.
So I mobilized these officers of the major crime and we all drove to the NIA headquarters.
Non min kadi mi mottidiri ɓe yimɓe ɓe andanda wondema hiɓe liggo ɓe sengo police wiyete major crime min yeehi ka NIA.
And we joined the panel.
yehi min bokki be o panel foto be liggintinde affaire be yimbe men andanda wanda be falano hippade lamu
which comprises of the police,
no tawa e ben police abe no e mabbe
the NIA,
ina e ben no e mabbe
and the military.
may ni soldat be
Kindly name them. Could you kindly name the members of the panel?
Awa men halande inde yimɓe manduɗa kamɓe wonno e nder panel o.
From the police side is me, Demba Sowe,
sengo police abe no tawa e mum min Demba Sowe,
Inspector Lamin Sise,
inspector Lamin Cisse,
Sergeant Sedindur.
Sergeant Sedindur,
I think Boto Keta then was a corporal, Corporal Boto Keta,
siki on jamanu Boto Keta ko corporal wonno makama makon corporal Boto Keta,
Lamin Cham,
Lamin Cham,
and Ablai Sow.
ni may Abdoulaye Sow.
From the NIA, I know Hydra was there.
Sengo
Modou
ena
Hydra.
e sengo ena be mi de fami wondema e Haydara no ton Abdoulaye Haydra Modou Haydra
There was Yusufa Fay,
kanyum may wiete do Yusufa Fay,
Usman Bojang,
Usman Bojang,
and others. I cannot remember their names.
kanyum may wobbe go be andanda ma wonda mi wawata mani dare inde ma
Yes, there was a Bajika.
e bajinka jono ton.
And then on the military side, we had Bo Baji, I think,
Sengo militaire soldat ben wiete do ton bobaji no ton mi sikki
Falli Java,
may falli jaba
I think Musa Bojang.
sikki e wiete do Musa Bojang.
These were the ones I could remember.
E woni yimbe be andanda mi do wawi mani dawe debe.
And we didn't have any kind of formal briefing with any of the authorities except for the fact that
gila men hewde to men heɓani jonde nde andanda ma no ɓe joɗɗini men ɓe yewtina men ɓe ko golle amen ɗen kono hana si tawi woni wondema si feƴƴi.
I was told by my IG then that I should join a panel to investigate people alleged of plotting.
si feƴƴi ko yeeso jangon ɗum woni police yeeso police aɓe ɓen ayji on ko wi'unolan ko wondema miɗo foti yawde joni mi bokka e ɓe yimɓe ɓe anda ɓe lijjindina ɓe yimɓe ɓe anda ɓe tulma e dow ngal kuwe hippagol laamu ngu.
But at the personal level,
And these are the members of the panel.
Ko ɓe woni yimɓe manduɗa
Yes,
kamɓe
yes.
wonno e nder panel o.
at the personal level,
Hold on a second. These were the official members of the panel.
Ko ɓe woni yimɓe manduɗa ɓe suɓi ɗumen pour ɓe wona e nder panel o.
well, these are the members of the panel that I am talking about.
eyyi ko ɓe woni yimɓe ɓe andama ɓe tawano e panel on ko ɓe woni e haalde fima
Proceed.
We continue.
ƴettira ɗon
At the personal level,
e sengo am min on
I had a briefing with the police officers.
mi heɓuno yewtere ɓe andandama mi heɓiɗi ɗum e police aɓe ɓen tawanoɓe toon ɓen
And I told them
yiwiɓe wondema
we are here
ɓen ɗo
as investigators.
wawen lijjintinde affaire on
So we should try to do what it takes
ɗen wawi awa ɗen wawi etade jokken golle men ɗon no wi'iri noon
to do our job properly.
waɗen golle men ɗon no haniri noon
Whatever is needed,
kala ko andanda hino haajora
we should try to ensure that we do it
ɗen foti etade yiyen wondema waɗen ɗum
in regards to establishing the veracity of the allegation.
yiyen wondema tuumal ngal andandama no hino tega e ɓe yimɓe yiyen ɗum wawi yaltinde ɗum ma tabintinen ɗum
That was my briefings with them.
nden yewtere mi heɓiɗi e maɓɓe kamɓe e sengo police aɓe ɓen
So we were ushered into a room upstairs,
e dow étage on dow ɓe naɓi men e suudu wondu
which was supposed to be the venue for the panel.
ton min fotno heɓude nde yewtere panel on
It's an open room. I think it's a conference room.
suudu yadude seedam si ko conference um suudu dandaɗa wonde hoɓɓe ko ton e wadde yewtata jotto yewta
And we have chairs
heɓi ɗon siranje
put up, around a table, a conference table
e siranje hiɗe tarna e tabal
for the panel members to occupy.
andandama ɓe yimɓe waɗoɓe ɗe golle ɗen kaɓe jooɗoto
And in front of that same table, there was an executive chair
Yes,
meant for the suspects.
ngal yeeso ngal tabal kadi e siran no joɗɗina ɗon pour neɗɗo ma andanda wonda himo tuuma e ngol hippagol laamu ngon ko joɗɗinte ɗon o lande
Then we were sitting blindly waiting.
non bo har minen jodi men e der nibbere men habbade.
And later,
yeso seda
this was at night,
ko jemma wonno sa
the first suspect was ushered in.
neɗɗo folomo ɓe andana wonno ko kanko ɓe soɓiti no tawa e hippagol laamu ngun o adda,
Who happened to be known later to be Bunja Dabo.
on neɗɗo yeso seeɗa men andi wondema ko o wiyete Bunja Dabo.
He was the first to be engaged by the panel.
kanko woni neɗɗo premier mo andana wondema o heɓidi yewtere e panel on.
He was moved in by soldiers.
militaire uɓe naatini mo nder ka panel on jooɗino ton.
Who was present in the room?
on mo tawano e nder suudu.
At that time, I believe it was only the panel members that at that time.
sikkide on wattunu ko menen panel yimɓe liggi foɗɓe liggindinde affaire makko on tan ko menen wonno nder ton.
Later,
yeeso seeɗa
during the engagements,
wattumo ɓen yewtidani e makko on ton.
and I think I saw Musa Jame and Tumbu. These were very frequent persons in that
sikki
panel.
mi yi Moussa Jamme kañum e wiyete tumbul ɓe ko yimɓe ɓe anda wondema wattuɓe arayno ton.
Then Dabo was ushered in.
wondema Dabo o adda nder.
He was on cuffs,
yimɓe ceenno juuɗe makko ɗe.
and we felt that was wrong.
enen tigi minen jooɗi ɓen ɗon ɓe yi wondema e faami wondema ɗum ɗo yaadani e laawol.
And we requested that the cuffs be moved.
janti wondema pour ɓe itta ko ɓe ceeni kon juuɗe makko ɗen.
Then we start engaging him blindly because we were not informed of what their level of involvement were.
non wattu men fuɗɗi e golle amen ɗen e nder niɓɓere sabu men haalanno ko ko honɗum tigi honno affaire o yaari.
Did you have any objections to the situation at the time?
on tuma on heɓno
The cops?
no woodi salnoɓe pour ɓe itta hankoko e jungo makko.
No, counsel, at that time I did.
ala on wattu hay ɗum waɗano hay goto.
Proceed, please.
we continue.
Well, we led him in questioning as to his alibis, what his activities were, and
wattu men fuɗɗimo landade kanko ko honɗum woni e sengo makko honno heɓiri jungo e tuumal ngal.
before that, in fact, we told him
ɓiɗɗo e ɗum tigri men wi'imo wondema
that we were a panel instituted to investigate
menen ko
about an alleged
menen ko men panel yimɓe ɓe andanama men suɓama pour men wawa lijjindinde tuumal ngal ɓe tigi ngal e hoore ma pour men wawa
And
heɓude
that-
goɗɗum.
his fate is determined by his own statement.
te kanko tigiri miijo makko ko woni ko e makko kon ɗum ɗon men heɓi ɗum e makko ko e makko.
We urge him to cooperate in telling us what he knows about the allegation.
min jonni min yamiri mo wondema yo haalu ko andi kon e tuumal ngal fof ko ɓe tegi kon e hoore makko.
Then we ask questions and he answers.
ɗon e dow ɗum ko noon woni min landoto o jaabo.
Before going further, I would want to state this.
ɗo mi yahude yewtere nden mi faala haalde ɗum ɗo.
The police are divided into two groups.
sengo police aɓe min feccuno e hoore amen e ceɗɗe ɗiɗi.
Myself and Cisse were to do or to be part of the interrogators or the people who doing the interviews.
min e Cissé ko minen wonno wondema min suɓano pour min tawe yimɓe ɓe andana wonde ɓe wona e landagol e jaabagol ngol.
And the rest were now going to do the jottings of what is being said so that they will be able to obtain their statements.
e diɓɓe
when the
ɓen ɗon
time comes.
ɓen ɗon wona yimɓe ɓe andanama wondema on tuuma ɗon ko haalata kon ɓe winda e ɗum ɗo a yiya e wondema e dow ɗum awa ɓe wawa windude konngol makko ngol.
So Mr. Dabo was interviewed
Mr. Dabo o woni neɗɗo wanda o landama
and he said what he knows,
o haali ko andi kon.
and he was ushered into an adjoining office within the conference premises.
e dow ɗum ɗum la ɗum yawti ɓe yaltino ɓe naɓimo e office goɗɗo e gon sengo woto ngon.
Where his statement was to be obtained.
on office o mo naɓira ɗon ko ɗon ɓe ƴettata konngol makko ngol te konngol makko ngol ɓe winda e ngol.
After Bunja, I think that day we only had one witness. I'm not sure.
ɗum feƴƴi seeɗa Bunja mi sikki ñeññande sa ko seeɗa goto men heeɓi kono mi hoolaki ha ko honno.
And then the trend continues.
ko noon ɗum yaari.
Sometimes we stay very late
wattuji go min wona toon ha niɓɓa
and come late morning,
ɗum aroya si weeɗi yimɓe hara ñalli seeɗa
continue.
men feƴƴina men ƴettira ɗon min golla men ɗo men kontina.
So most of the suspects
yimɓe hewɓe maɓɓe tumaɓe ɓen
would be escorted like Bunja was escorted.
no Bunja feƴƴinira noon addira kamɓe kadi heddi ɓen ko noon ɓe feƴƴinirte ɓe adde
by people in black,
ɓe waɗoɓe ɗum ɓen ko ɓe woni yimɓe ɓe andata wanda hiɓe ɓarni ƴiɓaleji ɗin
and some of them
e woɓɓe maɓɓe
would appear before us in a very terrible state.
ɓe ara yeeso amen minen waynaɗan men ko min woni lijjidoɓe haray ɓe no ɓe woni no hara no boni ha.
Of course, with torn shirts and bruises on their body.
wattuji go ɓen yimɓe ɓe addata ɓe hara wattuji wuttuji ɗin fof no seeki e balɗi ɗin fof no barmi.
But then we will still interview them
ha joni e dow ɗum minen men joɗinaɓe men landoɓe
as they would want to talk,
e wonnoɓe faalete haalude
and their statements would be recorded.
haalaji maɓɓe ɗin e konnguli maɓɓe ɗin windete.
And during this period,
Could you tell us the
o wattu
modus operandi, how the panel worked?
awa man haalande ligge ɗen no yaari panel on no ɓe waɗiri ligge maɓɓe.
well, whether modus operandi, what normally happens, or what was happening,
waɗata ɗum ton kon ko wowi kon waɗude
the panel members would be in the room.
panel ɓen ɓe woni ɓe landotoɓe o neɗɗo tuma ɗon ɓe wona e kanto suudu.
The show was entirely a military show.
e jonde nden fof ko sa yeehi ari ko jonde min soldat uɓe
So all, if not most, if not all,
fof si tawi woni wona fof
the arrests were done by military officers.
nangu wongo ɓe nangoɓe ɓe fof ko min ndiya ɓe yahata nangaɓe
So as we sit in the room,
si minen jooɗi kan tan ɗum suudu
these arresting officials would be the ones doing the arrest and bringing them into
ɓe
the room.
yimɓe ɓe anana ko kamɓe yahatno taaro no nangoye ɓe yimɓe ko kamɓe addata ɓe ha kan nder suudu ton
I don't know whether that answers your question.
mi anda ɗum si jaabi ke landagol ma
I want to know the entire scheme that was going on
mi
in
faala
that place.
mi faala andude piiji ɗin fof no yarata e nder ɗum dula ɗon ɗo won ɗon.
The apparatus at work that produced the report that you guys signed. I want to, the commission wants to understand the scheme, how you did your work.
hono waɗirɗon ha on heɓi haala e juuɗe ɓe yimɓe commission o noon ɓe faala andude hono liggirɗon hono waɗirɗon ha ɓeya haali
heɓunon konngol e jungo
ha on heɓi konngol e juuɗe ɓe mo annduɗa ko ɓen adda ɗon.
Council, as I said earlier,
ansul no mi wiiri noon ɓaawo
the role of the police was to investigate and to determine the veracity of the allegations.
police ɓen kamɓe golle maɓɓe ɗen ton ko ɗum woni lijjintingol te wawa tabintinde ko honno affaire on waalo
And we form part of a panel with other services.
minen kadi nden jonde ton nden ko minen woɓɓe woni e gollude ɓe annduɗa wano hiɓe immi e dame goo
So the setup or the modus operandi that you asked,
no wonɗa ko landade honno golle ɗen waalode nomin walliniri golle amen ɗen ton
what I can comfortably say
mi wawi haalde mi wawma haalande wonno e ɓuuɓere ɓernde an
is the panelists were within the room,
e yimɓe landoto ɓen hara hiɓuɓe wona e ka nder suudu ton
and the officers or the suspects were ushered into the room
won neɗɗo mananawa himo tuuma on ɓe yaw feƴƴinemo ɓe addama e nder ɗum suudu kamen jooɗi ton
by a different team,
ɓe addoɓe mo ɓen ko groupe goo wonata
who I would not confirm are part of the panel anymore.
donc mi wawata gonguidinde ko homɓe tawa e ɗum ɗon o
But they were facilitating the work of the panel by bringing the suspects into the room.
kamɓe kadi ɓe wona yimɓe ɓe annduɗa wondema ɓe lijjintina ɓe ma ɓe toppito fof pour addugol on neɗɗo on e neɗɗo tuuma ɗon ɓe addama kadi ɗum suudu ka lijjintino ɓen jooɗi ɗon
That was it. Look, Mr. Witness, you're a lawyer. You are a seasoned police officer. You are coordinator of crime management. You have occupied the highest offices for criminal investigation in this country. You are Assistant Inspector General of Police. You are asked to describe the apparatus, the scheme that produced that report. Is this the only thing you can tell us?
ko council o wi an place uji mo marɗa aɗon mari place uji kewɗi ko inni ɗo ko a woni yeesowo mo annduɗa kamɓe onon toppitota bade bonde mo annduɗa yimɓe no waɗa ɗum onon toppita ɗum a yahi ha a mari place uji kewɗi e nder ligge police yo ɗin place uji noon fof ko place uji mo annduɗa ko place uji waɗɗi yawɗi dow te noon joni kanko ko o lamdi ko ɗum woni no feereji ko on waɗi e nder on suudu ha on heɓi haalay juuɗe ɓeya ko hoɗum waɗa ɗon ko hoɗum e hoɗum ɓe toppita ɗon pour ɓe yimɓe haala o walla ɓe yimɓe mo annduɗa ɓe addi ɗumen ɗon ko hono ɓe haaliri ko ɗin ɗon rek o lamdoto pour o anda tigi hoɗum waɗa ɗon ha ɓe yimɓe haali.
Is this your testimony about what happened at the panel?
No wayno dal ko ɗum woni haalaji seede ma ko waɗa ɗon e nder panel o.
Council, I have said
Council mi haali de
what the police rule was.
golle police aɓen ko honɗum wonno ton.
The rest of the panel members.
ɓeeɗa hedditiɓɓe ɓe andadama wona police aɓe.
And I have said
mi haali wondema kadi
some of the suspects
woodi e maɓɓe ɓe andana ko ɓen tumaɓɓen
be brought in
adda e ɓe nder suudu ton
in conditions that are not good at all, very bad.
ɓe addi ɓe haare woɓɓe e maɓɓe no ɓe woniri noon
They would have scars, bruises and tattered shirts,
butteji ɗin fof no seeki,
meaning some other things have happened to them. Maybe they must have been beaten
ko honɗum firti ko ɗum woni awa no wawi haare woɓɓe e maɓɓe ɓe lappama
before coming to us.
ɗo e ɓe addede kamen wonɗon menen,
And of course they would be seated,
ko gonga ɓe joɗɗinayi ɓe,
and then we will do the interrogations.
enen ɗon men fuɗɗo landagol amen ngol.
And this applies to almost all the suspects.
ɓe yimɓe tuma ɓen fof miɗo wawi wiide wondema no wawi ɓen fof ko ɗum ngol lawol goto ngol ko noon men ƴetti.
And apart from the panel members that I have named, the NIA police and the staff,
ɓe panel member ɓe landoto ɓe mi haali ɗo en police soldaru ɓen kañuma e NIA ɓe.
we also would have the likes of Lantombong and Sonko, Usman Sonko,
en heɓay toon ɗum woni neɗɗo wawɗo ni Lantombong kañumma e Ousmane Sonko en
sitting within the room.
jotto kamɓe kadi haara ɓe jooɗi ka nder suudu ton.
Hari Sambu would be coming once in a while.
Hari Sambu kanko wattuji ko aray ton.
And we had the likes of Musa Jame and Tumbul Tamba, who are almost every other time. If one is not there, sometimes both would be in, otherwise one of them would be in.
Musa Jamme kañum e Tumbul Tamba wattuji ko simɓe fof ɓe ala ton goto e maɓɓe wonay ton ngo wattu fof.
And at few occasions I saw Martin then.
Wattu heɓɓi kenu to mi yii ton wiyeteɗo Martin kadi.
And also we had within some armed military officers within the room.
Ka nder suudu ton kadi mi yiyay ton yimɓe ɓe andanda wondema ko soldaru ɓe anda heɓe jogui joranji fetelji and suudu ton.
That aside also the condition was not the best of conditions, it was very bad.
Gonga kono muɗum wawma wiide wondema toon no walorno no affaire no walorno ton ɗum haray moƴƴani hay seeɗa no.
To the extent that even us the investigators were hesitating to even be talking.
Menen mi andana menen woni landade ɓe menen wattuji ko haare menen huuli e no affaire o walore noon.
I think you forthcoming, you coming up with the issues gradually, bit by bit.
Sikku a fuɗɗi yaltinde ko min falno andude seeɗa e no haalirta ni.
And I think that is a better approach than a very sanitized testimony about what has happened.
Mi sikku noon ko ɗum ɓuri moƴƴu ɓura no fuɗɗirɗa ni aɗo laɓɓina piiji ɗin no woniri ni kono noon on tuma no haalirta ni aɗo moƴƴina piiji ɗin no woniri ɗon.
Let me ask you,
oɗo mi landoma,
what happened there? Was it lawful? Was it in accordance with the law?
ko waɗa e nder on suudu ɗum noon no yaari e luwaji leydi ndina.
Council, there was a sitting government at the time.
Council hari ko
Mr. Witness, answer my question.
Lamu wonno.
If you need to explain further, I will give you the opportunity. Would you answer my question directly?
It's a yes and no, Council.
Yes, tell us the yes.
Yes, the police were there and the panel was instituted, which was very normal, common in those days. That was not the first panel, though with me, yes, that was the first, but panel have been instituted. And instituted based on circumstances. In this case, there was a circumstance that demanded, demand the institution of a panel. There were people who wanted to create unconstitutionality.
Mr. Witness, just answer the question. Was it?
I said yes or no. So
what happened there, was it legal or was it illegal? You are telling us about all the things you have said have no direct bearing on the answer. Was it legal or was it illegal?
I said yes and no. You said I should explain.
Explain, but...
So I'm explaining the yes, and I can explain the yes, no.
But all the things you have said have no bearing. Have no bearing on the answer.
Well, that's my answer. If it has no bearing too, that is what I understand from the question.
Let's pair ourselves with irrelevant issues and focus on the relevant issues. Was it legal or was it illegal?
Yes or no, Council. That's my answer.
Okay, tell us why it was illegal.
It was illegal because people were brought in conditions that were not the least bearable, acceptable by the panelists. You can investigate without beating, without torturing anybody.
And why was it legal?
It was legal because we were investigating an activity that has to do with toppling a government.
Mr. Sowe, how on earth can one issue be both legal and illegal? How on earth?
How don't know hunde manudan or no yadi elua or yadani elua kala.
In one legal system, how can an activity be both legal and illegal at the same time?
Hunde water manuda ko hunde manduda no wada joni non on hono wawata wonde hunde ngo sengo wiya mboni yadi e loi ngodo sengo o yadani e loi.
And so I can only present my facts for the determination of the commission. Legality and illegality, as far as my take is concerned, I will present what I know, and it will be a subject of scrutiny by the commission.
But the question is an easy one. You said what happened was legal, both legal and illegal. So I ask you the question.
Ko halda ko wiida ko wada don salari no yadi e loi kono sandari kala wa yadani e loi ko dum o landunoma ko dum non o faala pour firta.
How on earth can an activity be both legal and be illegal at the same time?
Hunde mo anduda wadama don hono wawata hunde mo anduda no yadi e loi o yadani e loi kala.
Because what you have said is a fundamental contradiction in terms.
Sub-council is telling me that the issue of the overthrow was legal. Then everything would be illegal. That's my take.
Mr. Witness, the question you are asked is whether the activity, the investigative activity, all the things that you have done there, were those things legal or were they illegal? Were they lawful or were they unlawful? That's what you are asked.
Ko landi ma ko dum woni no landirton be yimbe mo anduda ko ben adda don ko ben tuma no on landiri ben don e piiji din mo anduda yaadi o lamdagol ko liggeji ko waddo don ko dum o faala andude hono din ligge walla hono dum piiji wada dum non no yaadi e loi walla o yaadani e loi ko dum o faala andude.
So if you say all, that's why I'm saying yes or no, because I know not everything I do or the panel did was wrong. That's my thing. So I can only present it as I understand it at the time.
Mr. Witness, if you carry out lawful activities in the investigation and you carry out other unlawful activities, wouldn't it vitiate, wouldn't it tarnish the whole entire activity and render it unlawful?
Ko joni si piiji ɗin yaari ni e nder ligge mo annduɗaa ko ɗum waɗɗon si ta on waɗi ɗon piiji goɗɗi mo annduɗaa no yaadi e loi on mbaɗi ɗon kala piiji goɗɗi mo annduɗaa o yaadaani e loi ɗum waawa yakkude inde ligge mon ko mbanno ɗon fof e ɗum waawa ɗum yakkude yakka inde ko ligguɗon ko.
Wouldn't it?
That would be subjected to interpretation based on the facts that are presented.
Like
no
what?
heddi
Like what interpretation?
no heddi no ɗum nantindira no firtira no.
The issue of vitiating all the rights because of a certain conduct. For me, I would agree that there were a lot of unlawful activities, yes.
So would it those unlawful activities render void or unlawful the enterprise that you are doing? Okay,
No.
let me revise it. You carried out investigations to correct statements, correct?
Liggintini pour mbawa hebde konngol e juuɗe ɓe yimɓe manduɗa kamɓe tuuma.
Yes, Council.
And their statements were unlawfully obtained.
E noon konngol mo annduɗa ko ɗin heɓɗon e juuɗe ɓeɗo no heɓirɗon ɗum yaadani e laawol.
Maybe you need to come up a bit so that I understand what you want me to say.
Okay.
And there were illegalities in the process, correct?
No waɗirɗon ligge ɗen no woodi piiji mo annduɗa yaadani e laawol.
Yes, yes, I've said that.
And within those illegalities, render those statements illegally obtained?
Joni piiji mo annduɗa no tawa ɗon mo yaadani e laawol tigi tigi ɗin ɗon wawa yakkude konngol mo annduɗa ko ɗi kongi on heɓi e juuɗe ɓe yimɓe.
If that is subjected to legal interpretation by you, yes, because that's why.
But what other interpretation can we subject them to apart from legal?
Kono joni non hono men laarirta ɗum e men wiya ɗum ɗon ko ni wayi sita men ɓaŋani laawol mo annduɗa ko on laawol men fotno ɓaŋde.
Council, when I say legal, I am talking about the verdicts. That's what I am talking about. Because at the end of the day, we've seen police obtaining statements. Somebody said, I'm tortured. It goes to court and it is subjected to that interpretation. That's what I mean. That's the interpretation.
That is not an interpretation. That is a trial for the purposes of determining evidence in order to establish whether there were illegalities to render it inadmissible.
Wona pour ɓe haalira no waɗirani ɗum ɗon ko laawol mo annduɗa ɓe ɓangi pour ɓe annda ko hoɗum waɗa ɗon ko sengo loi o haali on haaju walla no waalori pour ɓe annda gonga o hono yaari.
So what we are talking about is you already acknowledge that there were illegalities.
Komin haalata ɗo woni ko ɗum woni a haali gonga piiji goɗɗi waɗama ɗon yaadani e laawol.
You accept there were illegalities.
An hoorema a jaɓi ɗin ɗon dey yaadani e laawol.
Have you not?
Very well, I've said it.
Good. And wouldn't those illegalities render the process unlawful?
That's why I have a problem with you. I don't think I would conclude it that that's the only thing. But I said activities took place that were wrong. For it to conclusively say that every other activity was just that's where I have a problem. But it's subjected to
but what is your problem with that? Tell us the law which makes it a problem for you to accept my proposition.
Joni haala men luwa mo annduɗa ko ɗum waɗi ha a wawata jabde min e komi hollirini ɗo ko.
Council, your proposition is your proposition. I am telling you.
Tell us the law.
I am not after telling you the law. My understanding of
But Mr. Witness, you are a lawyer. I am a lawyer. The commission is here listening to the evidence that is being presented. The commission is advised also by lawyers. Tell us the law which renders my proposition untrue.
Yoni komi fala rek min komi hawlima ko hala men luwa mo anduda e ko dum yakki kongol am o komi hollirima do ko on luwa mi fala pour hala la.
Angelo, I don't think I said your proposition is untrue.
You are changing your position. You challenged my proposition. You said you cannot agree with it. I challenge you also. Tell me the law which makes my proposition untrue.
So we know komi hali komi hollima do awawa ta don jabde kono jon ko dum wadi mbima mi jodi hollam luwa mo anduda ko dum wadi ha an awawata bangde komi hollima ko.
I think council disagreeing with your position, I would not agree that that means your proposition is wrong.
So you are just disagreeing because you are being disagreeable.
No, I'm disagreeing because you are putting the whole thing into one context and saying, giving it that meaning. That's where I have.
Perhaps we can hold off the interpretation for now because this is legal. It wouldn't interest those watching at home. Mr. Witness, do you understand the concept of vitiating factors?
So I am here to tell you what I know as far as the...
Answer the question. Do you understand the concept of vitiating factors?
No, I don't.
Perhaps that is the problem. But let me explain it very briefly. If you take a drum of water, pure spring water, you put urine in it, you would not drink it, would you? Would you?
It depends on the circumstances you are concerned, I think.
Well,
you can drink urine depending on where you are.
Okay, so maybe you would, but I don't think any other normal person would knowingly drink water that has urine in it. So by putting the urine in it, you are in fact spoiling it. And that is vitiating factors in law. When you bring in a person and you torture the person, or you create an environment where a statement could not lawfully be obtained, the torture and that bad environment are vitiating factors. These are factors that would render the statement illegally obtained. Am I right in law?
If that is the law, I don't contest what the law says.
If that is the law, are you not sure about it? You are a lawyer. You are a seasoned police officer. You are Assistant Inspector General of Police. I will just move on, Mr. Chair. Perhaps this is the problem. Are you satisfied with the product of your work in that panel?
Ko ligguɗon e nder on panel o ɗon on ɗen ligge noon no welima no yiiɗir ɗum nani.
To an extent, yes, council.
And
that too is very shocking.
On kala noon no woni hunde manduɗa no metti ɓernde no taƴa ɓernde.
And let's interrogate what happened in that panel.
Joni ndaren ko waɗa e panel on.
The panel comprised the police and NIA workers as interrogators and statement takers, correct?
Panel on police e yimɓe NIA kamɓe tawa e panel on kamɓe lamdata yimɓe kamɓe ɓangata konngol mo annduɗa ko ɓen ɗi yimɓe haalata tuumaɓe wonɓe ɗon.
And you would agree that the panel did not work alone?
Non a jaɓat panel o wona kamɓe tigi tigi rek waɗi golle ɗen.
You agree?
Yes, Council.
You agree that the environment in which these statements were taken, okay, before even we go to that, you say there were escorts, people who would bring the suspects wearing black.
awi yimɓe ari ɗon mo annduɗa kamɓe addata ɓe tuumaɓe te noon ɓen yimɓe ko ɓawli kon rek ɓe ɓornoto.
Did they carry guns?
ɓe noon ɓenin tammi fetelaji.
Yes, Council.
Council.
Did they wear masks over their faces?
nda ɓenin ɓorni kala masque e yeesoɓe maɓɓe.
Yes, Council.
Council.
Don't you find that intimidating?
ɗum noon wona hunde manduɗa no holɓina.
Yes.
ɗon kan no hulɓini.
Is that how a suspect has to be interviewed?
noon woni laawol manduɗa no moƴƴi pour yimɓe manduɗa ɓenin tuumimo ko noon ɓe foti ɗumen lamdirde.
They were not interviewing, Council.
wona kamɓe wonno e landade ɓe.
But if the suspect is put together with people who are intimidating, isn't that itself one of the factors that would render a confession inadmissible in court?
si ta neɗɗo manduɗa ɓenin tuumi on neɗɗo te noon on neɗɗo no waɗa e yimɓe walla omo wondi e yimɓe manduɗa ɓenin woni e nder on mahama e manduɗa ɓenin hulɓine ɗum rek tigi tigi wawa yakkude e yimɓe ɓen ɓernde neɗɗo o ha o haala mo annduɗa wona anniya makko.
These are possible factors, yes.
ɗon no wawi waɗude.
And you said that these people were brought in, sometimes they are bruises, blooded, clothes torn. Doesn't that indicate that these people were manhandled?
yimɓe woɓɓe adda ɗon wiiɗa e wuttejo maɓɓe sa wutte ko ɓorni ko dulaji no seeki balli maɓɓe no waɗi gañande dulaji no wawno dal jiijam kala no woni e balli woɓɓe ɗum noon sa daari ɗum noon ko hono wayi ama an hoorema.
Isn't that indicative that these people were malhandled or manhandled?
sikku ɗum wawama hollude ɓe yimɓe dal ɓe nati e nder tampere.
Yes, Council.
ɗon ko gonga.
Isn't that a factor that would render a confession inadmissible?
ɗum noon tigi wawa wonde o neɗɗo ko si o haali goɗɗum ɗum dey sa daari sengo luwa wawa wonde haala mo annduɗa woɓɓe ɓagata ɗum.
Possible factors, yes.
ɗum no wawi.
It's a factor, yes. It's not a possible factor, it is a factor. You would agree with that?
That's from you, Council. My
ɗum koye
suggestion
ma
is
e
a
mori
possible
council.
factor.
min e sengan ko mi wiya no wawi wonde.
It is a factor, nonetheless. It is a factor that can render a confession inadmissible.
on ko dalila mo
According to
annduɗa
Council, please.
wawa yakkude e haala ko ɓe yimɓe haali.
According to law, Mr. Witness, if you know the law, you would accept that this is a factor that can render a statement inadmissible.
ko luwa o ko haali dey sa daari ɗum hunde komin haali ɗo joni on wawa wonde hunde manduɗa e yakkat e darde haala manduɗa woɓɓe wawata ɗum bangde.
True or false?
Possible factor. That's what I said, Council.
hino wawi wonde.
Well, if you wish, Mr. Witness, you can stick to incorrect or inaccurate statements of law. That's your choice. But if you want to answer questions truthfully, you would gladly accept that what I state is true.
joni dey seede si welima a wawa ɓangde laaɓi manduɗa no yaadi e luwa no fewiri ni sa yiɗi kala wawa ɓangde laaɓi manduɗa ko ɗin laaɓi an hoorema a yiɗi ɗum fof a wawa laarde hoorema ndaara ko ɓagata.
That is a factor that could negate or that could invalidate a statement. That could render a statement inadmissible.
nomi yiri ɗum e sengo luwa neɗɗo sita natti e nder tampere on sifa tampere wawa wonde haaju kala ko haali ko on tampere ko fawa e dow on neɗɗo si o haali goɗɗum wawa wonde ɗum rek on haala wawata darde dulaji.
So that's why I said possible factors, because it could.
But
taki wimi hino wawi wonde.
if it could, then it is a factor. It is not a possible factor. You're just hiding behind negativing or words that would give it a nuance that is not deserved. But you're just hiding behind that. But you know fully well that this is a factor, not just a possible factor. It is a factor that can render a statement inadmissible.
ɗum de sa ndaari tigi tigi wayri an hoorema a wi ɗum wawa wonde sa ndaari wawa wonde wayri ɗon kayno dari joni sa ndaari e sengo go kala on wawa wonde wawa wonat hunde mo annduɗa ɗum wawa yakkude e darde on haala ha dulaji goɗɗi sa darni ɗon haala ɓe ɓagata ɗum.
But let me change the question. Do you think that it is normal and acceptable in civilized societies for a suspect to be brought to the interview with blood over the person, and then the person is sat down and interviewed?
Joni fadumi sansa no mi lamdiri ɗum sita neɗɗo addama mo annduɗa ɓandu ndu no waɗi jiiƴam wutte on no seeki sa ndaari ɗum andat o dey nati e nder tampere ɗum noon no yaadi e laawol pour on neɗɗo ɓe lamdomo ko haaju mo annduɗa ko ɗum woni dalila ko adda ɗon ko.
Is that acceptable in civilized societies?
ɗum noon yimɓe wawa ɗum ɓangde e dulaji mo annduɗa ko yimɓe mo annduɗa ɓenin fini.
Would you answer now, please?
Said no council.
Thank you. If you answer as soon as I ask the question, then it will model the record. Is it normal, is it acceptable in civilized societies for a suspect to be brought in haggard looking, in tattered clothes and interviewed? Is it acceptable?
ɗum noon dulaji no woodi sita ɗum yimɓe wawa ɗum ɓangde sita neɗɗo no adda omo tampi te noon guɗe ko ɓorni ko fof no yakki sa ɗum noon on neɗɗo sifa e nder dulaji manduɗa yimɓe no fini ɗon a sikkuɗa ɗum yaadi e laawol pour ɓen sifa yimɓe ɓaga haala maɓɓe.
No council.
Ala council.
Is it acceptable that suspects are beaten and brought into the interview room and interviewed? Is that accepted?
Sa ndaari kala neɗɗo mo annduɗa ɓe lappimo ha ɓe pari ɓe addamo e nder suudu pour ɓe lamdamo ɗum kala dulaji mo annduɗa yimɓe wonɓe ɗon no fini ɗum noon a sikkuɗa yimɓe ɓagat ɗum.
No.
Ala council.
And isn't it the truth, Mr. Witness, that these suspects were beaten and brutalized and brought for the interview? Isn't that the truth, Mr. Witness?
La sandari wona o woni gonga ɓe yimɓe ɓe nanga ɓe lappa ha ɓe tampi ɓe addi ɗumen e nder suudu pour ɓe lamda ɗumen so wona ko ɗum wadno ɗon.
Some of them, yes.
E woɓɓe maɓɓe ɓe lappama ɗum ko gonga.
Is that acceptable in civilized societies?
ɗum noon yimɓe mo annduɗa ɓenin fini jamma mo annduɗa ɓenin fini ɓen noon ɓe wawa ɗum ɓangde.
No.
Ala council.
Is that acceptable in the laws of this country?
ɗum noon luwaji e o Gambia ɗo ɗum noon yimɓe wawa ɗum ɓangde.
No.
Ala council.
So the people who were brought in after having been tortured, do you think that you proceeded with them in accordance with the law?
yimɓe mo annduɗa ɓe tampini ɗumen ɓe yii mette ha ɓe pari ɓe adda ɗon on lamdi ɓen ɗon sikkuɗa ɗum noon ko haaju ma annduɗa no feewi.
As far as the panel was concerned,
comme no wayni ɓe yimɓe joɗɗinaɓe toon ɓe ɓe landaɓe fi maɓɓe sa dartindiga ɗum.
we were all not in for what we saw.
Menen
Some of
ko
their
ɓe yii
cases.
kon woɓɓe maɓɓe men ko ɓe yii kon e maɓɓe kon ko ɓe waɗa kon men fof woɓɓe amen ɓe jaɓani.
Were you in for it?
An hoorema aɗo yiɗi ɗum.
But you are here, you sat here and endorsed the work of the panel.
kono a jooɗiɗo a moƴƴini ligge panel o.
You now have an opportunity to change your mind, but you sat there and endorsed the work of the panel, and I was shocked by what you said.
joni dey a heɓi laawol pour sansa miijo ma e ngo sengo kono noon a jooɗiɗo e a moƴƴini ligge panel o ɗum noon ɗon no jakinimmi.
You changed your mind about the work of the panel, didn't you?
a sansi miijo ma e sengo ligge panel o.
You've changed your mind, correct?
a sansi ɗon.
After I gave you a litany of the violations, now you change your mind.
Can you, I'm listening to the interpreters.
Yes.
Yes. No, gila mi haalanima piiji e laaɓi mo annduɗa ko ɗum luwa o haali o walla piiji mo fat annduɗa yimɓe finɓe e jamanu maɓɓe piiji mo annduɗa ɓe wawata ɓangde gila mi haalanima ɗin piiji kontuma a sansata miijo ma o walla.
So my position as per my earlier statement,
min darne andan comme no mi haalere ni ɗum ɓaawa
does not suggest
holirani ni
that I categorically state that whatever the panel does was right. I didn't say that.
holliran ɗo wigol wondema kala ko panel on waɗi ton ko ɗum
And I would never say that.
mi haalata ɗum kadi wigol wondema kala ko
I also would
Mr.
not say.
Witness, yes, Mr. Witness, you are given an opportunity to make an assessment of the work of the panel, and you endorsed it.
do ɗe ɓe hokkima laawol pour ndaara dartina an hoorema e miijo ma liggintina ligge panel o ko ɓe waɗi ko kono a moƴƴini ligge ɗen
You endorsed.
a moƴƴini ɗum de.
And now you are telling us that, well, some people did not like what was happening. You also did not like what was happening.
joni
But
aɗo wiya
you
minen
just endorsed the work of the panel.
woɓɓe yiɗa ligge panel o an hoorema kala a yiɗa ligge panel o kono a moƴƴinino ligge panel o.
You can change your mind, but you earlier endorsed the work of the panel.
a wawa sansude miijo ma o kono folofolo o a moƴƴinino ligge panel o.
Council, my response to question in regards to the conduct of the panel, I said yes and no. That's what I said.
sul min jaabagol
So if you are now trying to generalize that to mean that I said everything the panel does was right, that is you saying it. I didn't say it.
My friend, even if they did 1 million correct things and they did one fundamental wrong, that one fundamental wrong can vitiate all that million things they did right as far as the admissibility of the statements are concerned.
si
The findings of the commission.
si ɓe ligge mo annduɗa no yahi ha ko foti million ko moƴƴi e sengo ligge ɗen ɓe waɗoyi hunde wotere mo annduɗa ko hunde mawɗo kono ko hunde bonɗo on hunde goto on hunde ɓaɗe bonde on wawa yakkude walla wawa yakkude inde ligge ko ɓe waɗi ko.
What do you say to that?
My position
darde
is
ande
unchanged, except that you are trying to
anaɗa si a faalama
give a meaning and regards to what I said, as though I have said what we said, did at the panel, everything was right. I didn't say that. I said very clearly that it's a yes and no. In the no, I've said what my understanding was, and in the no, I've also said something. So if you are now bringing all that to one, what is what?
Could you take it again and allow for the interpretation?
Yes. Sorry,
so put
Council.
your answers in short segments, in
Yes.
short stanzas, statements rather.
I said my response to your question in regards to the legality
komi jaabi ɗo kon e landagol magol ko andana hino yaari e luwa o
or illegality of the panel's conduct.
wonde ko andana yaadani e luwa on ko panel on wiɗi waɗi ko
My answer was a yes and no.
mi jaabi ɗo gon ko ɗum woni eyi ma ala
But your present position is like
an darde ma nden no wayi ni
you are now saying I said all that the panel did was right, and I never said that.
no
That's my
wayi ni an
concern.
darde ma no ko wonɗa wiide ko min ko
Well,
wi
Mr.
wondema panel on ko ɓe waɗi kon fof ko golle
The vitiating factors that you've said,
again
the vitiating factors
wi
that council alluded to earlier,
wi council an ko haalnoɗa kon ɓawɗo wigol wondema laaɓi ɗi anndanɗa miɗo serti ɗi mi acciɗi ɗin seeɗa
I could not say much about it because you
You
said
are-
that is the law.
mi wawata haalde ko ɗuuɗi e ɗum ɗon
I
sabu luwa
said
ko ɗum haali
subjected to interpretation because for me,
no heeɗi no lutti e noon ɗum firtirte noon
interpretation of the law, it does not necessarily stop at the process of accepting or not accepting
luwa no
personal statement.
firtirte noon ɗum hattani wigol wondema
That's why we have-
What are you talking about?
What I'm saying, when I talk about interpreting the law, I said when a magistrate or judge is sitting listening to whatever happens,
luwa no
he sit
firtirte noon
and get those facts together and then give it a meaning in the context of law. That's what I'm saying.
misal si taƴowo ñawore
It's a
dako
process.
ñawore taƴo ñawore dow ma leydi o
Based on what had happened
yo tajude ñawore no jeddino do haalaji din fof
even though it was wrong in some context.
Even though it was wrong in some context. Interpret that.
Sita andari sengo go no yardani e lawol.
I cannot conclusively admit the fact that everything that the panel did at the time was wrong. That's why I'm saying that.
Joni mi wawata darde mi wiya kala ko panel o watno untuma fo yadani e lawol.
Let me ask you basic questions in law.
Wadu mi lamdama piiji manduɗa ko piiji waɗɗo hoore e nder sengo loi.
If you commit one violation,
sa waɗi bonande gote,
does it matter that you have done several things without committing a violation?
ɗum noon ho yimɓe foti laarde a waɗino piiji kewɗi ɓaawo mo annduɗa ɗin no moƴƴi.
Like violations like what?
bonande
wayande wonne.
Okay, here was a process, you said.
Mbiɗa
A process of investigation. Correct? If you obtain a statement illegally, does it matter that you have read the person some of his rights?
So joni sa lamdi neɗɗo mo annduɗa a foti heɓde konngol e junngo makko te noon no heɓirɗa on konngol e junngo makko yadani e laawol joni noon on feere mo waɗnoɗa ha heɓi on konngol ɗum noon no laaɓi walla moƴƴaani?
Does it matter?
ɗon noon a laarat piiji ko wanno ɓaawo no moƴƴi walla o haaju ko waɗi no boni joni noon kono darirta ɗum.
Does it really matter? Cut the interpretation now. Let's do it just in English. Does it really matter?
Well, it is determined by the courts. It doesn't matter.
Why are you fixated on the courts? You are the officer there, senior police officer. Your responsibility is to uphold the law, to implement the law, to enforce the law. Do you accept everything and then you take it to court, or do you do the right thing?
In this case, the panel didn't take anything to the courts. The panel did their report and sent it to the agency.
We know you did that. The
Yes.
issue is whether you should do the right thing or you should do the wrong thing and then send it to the courts. What should you do? The right thing or the wrong thing?
That's why it escalated to some other areas. If it is wrong from where we were, the agency member should be able.
I am talking about your obligation as a police officer. I am talking about your obligation as a police officer. Should you do the right thing or should you do the wrong thing?
Right.
Do you believe you did the right thing?
To an extent, no.
No. It's either the right thing or the wrong thing. It's not the right thing to an extent. It is either wrong or it is right. Did you do the right thing?
To an extent, Council, that's going to be my answer.
So you are hiding behind nuances. You are not even sure of your position. It's either right or it is wrong.
I think, Council, there is an element that you also need to understand. I wish I don't want to go this within a certain government system, that I would say, even if, sorry to say that, you were sitting there.
No, don't use me as an example. You
I
cannot
just
use
want to-
me as an example.
Okay, sorry.
I don't work by your standards,
Sorry,
Mr. Witness.
excuse me, okay, that's a misstatement, that's okay. The condition was like, you may be wrong in some aspect, but for you to say anything, it's a problem.
But Mr. Witness, we haven't gone that far yet. What you have done is you have defended the outcome of your work. You said it was okay, much to our shock. You said it was okay. I gave you a list of the violations, just a few. I haven't even gone into the nitty-gritty yet. I haven't reached the full detail yet. And here you are stuck. You cannot defend that record. All of you acted in illegality. That is the truth, isn't it?
That's your statement, Council. It's not my
But
statement.
that is the truth.
Well, I wouldn't say no, but that's your statement.
So if you don't say no, you would obviously say yes.
If you ask me, I would say what I would say. But if
All
are
of
telling-
you acted in illegality.
Well, that's your statement, Council. With due respect.
What is the truth? Mr. Chair, let the witness answer the question. What is the truth? Did you act lawfully or did you all act unlawfully?
The truth, Council, is in that situation, our conducts were made that we are very unlawful.
Did you all act unlawfully by sitting there and accepting those illegalities to prevail, and you submit reports, sanitized reports, which stated nothing about those illegalities? Did you act according to the law?
I wouldn't say sanitize.
Did you act according to the law?
I act according to what the law said I should do as far as the statement recording was concerned.
Okay. Did you write anywhere in the reports that these people appeared bruised, bloodied, and in tattered clothes? Did you state that in your reports?
In my history in the service, I've never seen.
I'm not saying that. The question is, did you do it or did you not?
It was not a report that would state how they appear. What they said in their statements.
Did you honestly, according to your oath as police officers, did you honestly state how the statements were obtained?
And so the report was not supposed to capture that. No.
But if you did not, you misled the whole country. If you did not, you misled the whole country.
Except if those that came before you depart from what we said in the report. Because whatever they said here is what they said in their statements, and that's what is captured in the report.
Mr. Witness, you knew there was a voir dire in all these cases. Don't you know that?
Yes, I'm told there was.
Yes. And what was the purpose of the voir dire?
Of course, it was to check the credibility of the statement based on whether it was voluntary or not voluntary.
And you knew about the illegalities that would render the statements inadmissible? You knew that? You told us here before?
Well, I've said it.
Yes.
What else?
Okay. Did you go to the court to say, well, when these people were interviewed, there were a lot of illegalities that happened? Did you do that?
I don't think anybody would walk himself to any court to say anything without.
And by your silence, these people have been sentenced, these statements have been admitted because people like you remain silent? Is that not the truth?
That is not the truth, Council. I'll never remain silent because I'm called here to come. And if I was
no.
anywhere, I would.
Well, now it's ex post facto. We are talking when it mattered. If you had done the right thing, we wouldn't be sitting here today interrogating this particular issue. It's because you did not do the right thing.
Council, I think you are trying to be a bit, I don't know.
No, answer the question, Mr. Witness.
I've never in my life as a police officer walked to a court and say I must testify. It has never happened in my life. All the time.
Don't you have a duty as a citizen, as a police officer who knows or is privy to facts that are critical in a case? Don't you have an obligation? Don't you think it's your civic responsibility, or in fact, your official responsibility to write a statement to say, I was there, these statements were unlawfully obtained? Don't you think that should be your responsibility?
I don't know that as a practice in the Gambia here.
But
not even
morally,
in the Gambia.
Morally, is that
well, we are talking about what the law says.
No, I am coming to that. Morally, is that an obligation?
Council, I think maybe you are trying to...
No, answer the question and stop characterizing me as to what I am trying or not trying. Just answer the questions.
Morally, whether...
Are you obligated to blow the whistle, to say that this was a blatant violation of the rights of Gambians? It should not be a basis for the conviction of these people. Don't you think you are morally obliged to?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, fine. But don't you think that as a police officer, you sat there, you knew an illegality was going on. Don't you have an obligation to stop it or to blow the whistle or not to be part of it?
To who, Council? With due respect to who? If I'm going to blow the whistle, to who?
Do you have an obligation? Before we talk about to who, let's say, do you think you have an obligation? You
Mr. Chair, let me make a position here. It's as good, it's important to all Gambians and non-Gambians watching to understand that some of the questions, I have no problem with answering questions.
Well, you are not answering questions.
If Council is suggesting that I should be a whistleblower in an environment that I want to understand to who do I blow this whistle?
Mr. Witness, let's first deal with the question. Do you believe that you had an illegal, did you believe that you had a legal obligation to ensure that that illegality did not proceed?
No, illegal obligation to ensure.
Yes.
To terminate the panel, you mean? Is that what you want to suggest?
You could have refused to carry on with the interviews.
It's good that some people were not here. For me to walk out and go home?
Yes.
You think that was a possibility, Councillor? With due respect?
Yes, it was a possibility.
Well, I didn't try it, and I wouldn't try it. Even today, I don't think it's very...
Couldn't you have written in the statement that this person was beaten prior to the interview?
I didn't write a statement, Council.
Did you ensure? Well, those who wrote statements were under your command, correct?
Yes.
Did you order them to do that?
I ordered them to obtain statements from suspects.
Did you order them to state that?
I ordered them to obtain statements from witnesses, from suspects.
Did you order them to state the true facts that these people appeared beaten and dazed when they give their statements?
No, that was not supposed to be my orders to them.
Didn't you think that that would have been the fair and appropriate thing to do under the circumstances?
Fair enough. If that's your take, I would agree.
Don't you even think that the mere fact that these people have been tortured is reason why the interview should not take place?
Chairman, my fuller listeners are denied interpretation.
No, you just trying to buy time to think through your answers. Answer the question. No, answer the question.
Mr. Kafala,
just answer the question.
Ask, please.
You agree?
To say?
You agree that no interview should have taken place in view of the fact that these people were tortured?
Well, for today I will agree, but then not yesterday.
Look, the law that exists today is the same law that existed then.
But yes.
So you acquiesced, you folded and accepted the situation. Isn't that the case?
I think it is the system that you need to understand.
No, if you can make us understand the system later. Let's now try to understand your conduct, what it is that you did. You sat there and accepted the illegality. Didn't you do that?
No.
What did you do?
In the context of repeating, I didn't do much.
You did not do anything.
Yes.
You accepted the situation.
Yeah, because the beating was not done in that room.
But in fact, that is not the case, Mr. Witness. Some beatings were done in the room. And your colleagues, those who were there with you, they attested to the fact that some beatings were done in the room.
Well, that could be their statement, but as far as I'm concerned,
what are they lying, Mr. Witness? Remember,
I'm not here to disagree with anybody's statement.
No, Mr. Witness, you are here to testify to the truth.
Very well, but not to disagree on anybody's statement. That I will not do.
If you don't disagree, we will make you answer questions. Are those witnesses lying?
I'm not sure. That's their testimony.
So it means, therefore, you are not even sure of your testimony. You are not even sure of what you say. Because they say it's this, you say it's that, and you are not sure whether they are right. It means you are not sure that you are even right.
Council, I don't know whether you are also sure that they are right. But because I was there. And if I'm telling you what happened there, and you are telling me I'm not telling the truth, Then
Alaji Martin has confessed here that yes, he slapped Bunja Dabo. Is he lying? Is he lying?
Not in that venue.
In that room.
Well, I cannot remember seeing that.
You see, what you're trying to do, Mr. Witness, is trying to give a sanitized version of what has happened in that place. That place was also part of the process of torturing people and getting them to give unlawful confessions which would be used as proof against them. That is the scheme in which you worked. That's the truth, isn't it? Every witness who appeared here has accepted that that was the truth. From Director General of NIA to the very officers who worked under you during that time, they all accepted that these people were tortured, brought to us, and statements were taken. That was the system. That was the scheme. You are here to sanitize it. You want to give it that air of legality.
Council, are you saying that with all I said here, I didn't accept the fact that people were tortured and they brought in it?
But why are you arguing? Why are you making it look like you people did no wrong?
That is your suggestion. I didn't say that. Because I said
Okay, all right. Okay, let me toss aside everything that's been said. Did you people act in illegality?
Yes and no. That's my take.
Okay. Spare us the no. We're not interested. Where you acted lawfully, we're not interested. Tell us where you people acted unlawfully.
This is where we accepted interviewing people who were in a state of...
People who were tortured.
Traumatized kind. People who came in.
People who were tortured. Accept that they were tortured, Mr. Witness.
They were beaten. That's what I'm saying.
And is beating not torturing? Especially if they are in the hands of state officials?
Use any of the adjectives, Council. I have no problems with that.
Give us a definition of torture, Mr. Witness.
I am not here to define torture.
No, Mr. Witness, you are a lawyer. You are an Inspector General of Police,
Yes.
assistant. You've led investigations at the highest level in this country. Tell us what is torture.
Torture is what it is because it's self-explanatory. There is nothing.
Okay, tell us what...
Torture is torture.
Tell us what it...
Torture is torture. That's my take.
Tell us what it means, Mr. Witness. No, because only if you don't know what it means, Mr. Chair.
The system indicates that don't take us back to the Lamin Dabo appearance here, not between torture and beating. I would allow this punching to go back and forth. You both appealed to me twice, made reference to the chair that yes, I do allow some punching to go back and forth, left hook, right hook, left hook, right hook. You do that, but at some point we would need to get back to the substance, the thing, answer his questions, and we would go ahead. And perhaps, Council, if you make them shorter for him, you would just
Mr. Chair, I ask this question because it is important for us to know whether our security officers understand what is torture. Because if they don't understand what is torture, they cannot prevent it from happening.
Well, please go ahead and answer the question.
What is torture?
Yeah.
Torture is the inhuman treatment of an individual.
No, that is not torture.
It's like doing any kind of beating, you call it, and causing trauma to the person based on what is applied on the individual. So I said that these people, some of them were beaten, were tortured, and brought before the panel.
Finally, you have landed.
No.
No. Finally, you have landed. Oh, that's all I wanted. That these people were tortured. You have used the word for the first time now, since we started 2 hours ago. They were tortured, correct?
Is it the first? Anyway, I said they came in tortured, beaten, I used a lot of words.
Exactly.
But
well, the one I was looking for, you have finally used. The Eagles have landed. Thank you very much. Do you think it was lawful that you obtained statements from these people? knowing that
that's a very important question. Can the interpreters come in now so that people get to know?
Yes, perhaps repeat your answer. They were beaten, they were tortured,
Indeed.
they were manhandled. Could you repeat that?
Amun Dasilang.
No. Take it from the witness.
Yes.
Could you say your answer? Repeat your answer.
So my answer remains my answer from the day one that this
Council
people were beaten,
what it says. Komijabi gong
the tortured.
kilande mo premier ko woni be woni be gana be lappa ma te be wada ma ko. Council your mic.
Sorry, interpreter, don't talk over each other. Let the witness answer the question again.
Yes, I was telling to make it.
From the beginning, read council.
And the premier long komi ma kon council.
What I said
Wi mi kon
remains the same.
dum ha joni ko don dari sansaki.
Suspects
Were na ko tuma be
beaten out.
be lappa ma yasi.
What is beat out?
On woni be lappa ma yasi.
Said beating outside. They were kind
Lappa
of,
ma yasi.
whatever happened to them happened outside the conference.
Some of what happened to them happened outside. Some of what happened to them happened
And so the
inside.
word torture I would use, they were tortured from wherever it happened and ushered in the conference.
Wada kon foko be wada ndako be lappa ndako hondum be wada ko hondum musi ko be wada foko yasi be wada.
They were interviewed.
Okay, good. And when they were brought in, you knew these people were tortured.
Gila be addama kander surundu on andi be yimbe be tampin be lappuno be do ha be tam.
Of course, their looks were not the ordinary looks, so that is obvious.
Ko go ngando be woni non sai tan ande wonda be wada ma ko wodi ko be wada.
Could you answer the question more directly? Yes or no? Did you know that these people were tortured?
No andi be do be lappama walla be lappaka.
They look like people who were tortured.
I put it to you, Mr. Witness, that you are again giving a very sanitized answer. You knew with certainty that these people were tortured.
Hajoni kala sede on ado mojjina halaka kono non gonga odon andi si on dari yimbe be yimbe a andi be ko yimbe manduda be natti e nder mette parce que be lappama.
And please answer truthfully. The commission would have to listen to all your answers in making decisions later. Answer truthfully.
Toroma si ajabo to jabo e gogoga commission on ko halata do fo ko halata do be dartindo dum goto goto.
You knew these people were tortured. It was not less lost to the panel members that this torturing was going on. They would torture and bring to you for interview.
Wamno dal onon be wombe nder panel o be anduno gonga be yimbe addabe don be lappuno dumen be natti e nder mette be tampi ko ontuma be addi dumen don on anduno dum.
Like I said earlier, some of them, yes, they were.
That is not the answer I was looking for. The question is, did you know whether these people were tortured, or did you not know that these people were tortured?
Ko jabuda ko wona dum mi fala ko mi fala ko wiya gonga walla wona gonga hani on anduno be yimbe be adduno don be lappama ha pari.
Mr. Chair, I am looking for a yes or no answer. I want a categoric statement.
We can't be repeating it ad infinitum. Perhaps the last time you asked them a question. Can we get an answer, please, witness?
I only knew of their torture when they came.
Yeah, did you know?
Yes, when they came, I knew that they were tortured.
Watu mo mi andi o wonde mabbe wada be lappama on watu woni manda mabbe be addi be on kanta suudu kam woni don ko on watu mi faami wonde mabbe de be lappa.
Thank you very much. The more we have straightforward answers, the easier it becomes for everybody, and we save a lot of time.
Ajarama simen hebi kongol jungo ma a jaabi no men falira ni hunde nde yawat.
Did the members of the panel know that these witnesses were being tortured and brought in and interviewed. That was the routine.
Yombe nder panel o be andunona be yimbe addabe don be lappuno dumen ha para on tuma be addi don ko non piji din woniri be anduno dum.
I can only talk about myself, Council.
Again, Mr. Chair, the witness is not answering the questions. You're not answering the question. Please answer the question. Remember, we have received a lot of evidence here, and your statement would be juxtaposed against other statements of witnesses.
Foti andude men heɓi ɗo seedeji kewɗi manduɗa ɓe ari ɓe haali ɗo te noon konngol mangol mi wallina ɗum e konngol yimɓe woɓɓe manduɗa ɓe arno ɗo men dartina.
Was it generally known to members of the panel that the suspects were being tortured and brought in for interview?
ɗum noon wonɓe e nder panel o ɓe heɓno o gandal wonde maɓɓe yimɓe ɓe no ɗumen ɓe lappuno ɗumen ha pari ɓe addi ɗumen ɗon e yeeso mon to nder panel o.
Yes or no?
I know about it. That's my answer. I cannot talk about general members.
But that is not true, Mr. Witness. What the answer you just gave is not the true answer to the question, and you know it.
Gongale ko jaɓɗa kon wona e konngol manduɗa ko ɗum mi falno ɗum wona gonga no mi faliri ɗum ni.
It is not. And I don't want to have to prove to you that the answer is not true.
Non mi parani pour mi hollama seede ne ko halɗa ko wona gonga.
So I give you another chance to answer the question. Was it known in the panel generally that these people were being tortured and brought in for interview as a matter of routine?
Yimɓe wonɓe nder panel o ɓe anduno gonga o dey ɓe yimɓe tumaɓe ɓe lappuno ɗumen ha pari ɓe addi ɗumen e nder to commission o ko ɗum mi faala jaaba.
Actually, I cannot talk about every member of the panel, and it's not everybody who came before the panel appeared the same way, like the issue of torture marks and stuff like that. Not everybody. So if you want me to talk about everybody, and I'm making a personal statement.
Mr. Witness, the question is, was it known generally in the panel? Okay? Like it is known generally here that we've been here for almost 2 hours. And in that 2 hours, we only managed to get you to use the word torture at the very last minute. That is generally known. That is a fact here. It's not incriminating anybody. This is a known fact. During that time, was it known generally in the panel that these people were torturing suspects and bringing them before the panel to be interviewed? Was it generally known? It's a simple yes or no answer.
It was a general observation that people come there with marks indicating that they are tortured. It's a general observation.
Still being nuanced, but it was general knowledge. Not a general observation. It was general knowledge.
Joni halakala bal kono non a wi joni non e dum ko hunde manduda hewbe andi dum.
Do you agree
that it was a general observation? Yes.
Mr. Witness, stop dilly-dallying. This was general knowledge. It was known to members of the panel. True or false?
Dey yimbe wombe nder panel o be anduno dum ko gonga wala wona gonga.
Council, I am agreeing to the fact that it was a general observation. If you want,
Mr. Chair,
that's what I said.
Mr. Chair, I think you should warn the witness. You are a very senior officer in government. You cannot be holding the commission in contempt like this. Answer the questions truthfully. This is a simple question. Answer the questions truthfully. This is a simple question. Was it generally known by the panel? You telling us it was a general observation and sticking to it. The question is, was it generally known? It is a yes or no answer. You cannot treat the commission with contempt like that by just dilly-dallying and waffling around. Answer the question. Was it generally known? Answer the question.
It's a general observation that I can see.
Mr. Chair, under the rules of this commission, a witness is obliged to answer questions. All right? You cannot refuse to answer questions by hiding behind imprecise words. Let the witness answer the question, Mr. Chair. If not, I would continue to cross-examine you on this question until I get the answer I want. Was it generally known in the panel that these suspects were being tortured and brought before the panel?
No.
Could you stop the interpretation? Answer the question.
The question is, suspects were tortured and brought before the panel. That's what I said.
Was that generally known to members
It was
of the panel?
the general knowing and the general observation is where maybe you want me to just on
answer
that
my question
general-
and stop.
I said the general observation because they come, you see it and you understand that these people were treated wrongly. It was observed.
Okay. When it was observed, was it discussed by members of the panel?
But at levels, but I know with
Was it discussed?
no general. There was no discussion about it general.
But that is a lie. That is not true.
No.
The witnesses who testified here said this thing was discussed in the panel.
That's what I'm saying. I said not generally, but then to an extent. Myself and Hydra, we were sitting like this. Sometimes we would be talking. So
Did you
that
discuss
that
it?
is not a general discussion.
Mr. Witness, stop playing games. Stop playing games. This is not helpful. This is not helpful. This issue was discussed in the panel that these people were being brought, beaten, tortured. It was discussed in the panel. True or false?
I discussed it with Hydra. Did
Fode Barry participate in the discussion?
No, that would not be maybe in my presence. They may do it, but
Okay,
not
let's
in my
listen to what Hydra had to say. Let's see, listen to what Hydra had to say. Unfortunately, the state guards who were in charge of the upkeep and security of the accused always like to stay in the panel room, notably Musa Jame, Tumbul Tamba and Alaji Martin, all from state guards. Their presence became a nuisance and a bigger problem to the panel, simply because they were the ones who interrupted proceedings by either trying to beat or some instances had slapped suspects, maybe 2 or 3 times if my memory serves me right, and their acts were never ignored because we always complained. They always complained about the torture that was going on. And you said that did not happen?
I think we need to understand.
Understand what?
What was at play. I would sometimes be talking with Hydra, but Hydra can talk to people that
My
I'm
friend,
not talking to.
when the complaints were made, all of you were there.
No, honestly, that's we knew and we didn't like it.
But you telling me that you did not know that the others knew. That is what you told us. It's only now you're telling us that you knew.
What I said this were the observations we knew. And
you never said that, Mr. Witness. If you did say that, we would not be spending this 10 minutes discussing this issue.
Very well, if that is, we knew.
Exactly.
Yes, we knew because they come and we observe this and we discuss it. Myself and Hydra, we discuss this.
But I told you, if you don't give us the answers, we would pull out the tooth. No matter how hard it is, you will answer the questions.
I don't need to hide behind anything,
but
because there is no interest for me to hide in any way.
It
to
was
tell the Commission the truth.
It was absolutely unnecessary. You just wasted our time. It was absolutely unnecessary. It was.
I discussed with Hydra.
No, if you had just said, answered the question, yes, we knew, we would have moved on. But you tried to hide behind it was some observation. I tell you, you would answer the questions, no matter what. You would answer the questions. So make it easy.
And the question has been answered.
Thank you.
And go on.
Mr. Chair, perhaps we should just take a break at the moment. I thought this was going to be a 1 hour session, but maybe it would be 5 hours. I am sorry, but we will get the answers that we want. Thank you.
You promised me it will be a 1 hour session. But before we go, just a very small footnote on the first lawyer-to-lawyer exchange that you had on vitiating factors. The analogy that you gave, that you have a bucket of water and then they put in a small urine, that's no normal person would drink that water. Just to tell you that in the 1960s there was a heated debate when the third Prime Minister of India, Morarji Desai, was just doing exactly that. You read Kabir, the debate was whether or not Morarji Desai was a normal person. Very heated debate in the papers. But I'm glad that we have left that point behind. We will come back at 12:45. Is that correct? Yes. Come back at 12:45. Let's take a quick tea break. Thank you.